Hello people, so now the tournament of power is about to begin. The battle lines have been drawn. We know certain fighters are going to participate. We know certain fights are going to happen, judging from the opening and the preview. Each fight is from each universe. The mole that is stronger than a guard of destruction. So, ever since we brought this up, there's a mole out there, a being that's stronger than a guard of destruction, namely Beerus, right? The fandoms are going back and forth on who the opponent could be. Obviously, the biggest spotlight is on Jiren, the Great. Number one because he's the biggest obstacle for Goku in the tournament of power. But there's some evidence to say that he is. I'm just going to say there's not enough. It's 50-50 at this point, maybe 70-30%. A lot of people want to go with this theory because it makes sense. Because if there's an opponent that's stronger than Beerus, remember, Toriyama has stated many times that Goku and Vegeta are not up to Beerus at least not back then. But a lot of things have changed. So having Goku surpass Jiren would be the ultimate way, although I think it's more of a cop-out than anything else. Because I don't think a lot of people wouldn't mind seeing a rematch between Goku and Beerus. I sure as hell wouldn't mind seeing that. But I don't think they have enough time for that, so this is a way for them doing that. So that's the theory that makes sense. And just because it makes sense doesn't necessarily mean that Jiren is the mortal stronger than God of Destruction. There's not enough evidence to support that. So unless Beerus or Jiren come up with a flashback or come up and say, yo, or Beerus says, yo, back in the day, before I went to sleep, I actually fought this guy during the Grey. But then again, remember, they're both from different universes. And it's not a God of Destruction's job to march around to other universes challenging other people. It's to blow up planets, right? The only reason that Beerus had an account with Goku is because he had the premonition of a Super Saiyan God, so he thought that'd be a challenge, right? But then there's a scene in the Battle of Gods, if you remember, where Beerus does say, Goku, you're the second strongest opponent I've ever faced, behind somebody else. At that point, we thought it was bullshit because of what we saw with Monica, right? Because he was a troll to find a way to motivate Goku to get even stronger. However, there are some instances to say that could be the case. A couple of factors to take into consideration when it goes to God against Beerus, okay? Like, for instance, Fuse Zamasu. The only reason why a lot of people say he may be able to handle Beerus is because of his half immortality. But then again, I'm pretty sure Beerus could wipe out his body, but his essence will remain, because that's what happened with Trunks, right? So there's that to take into consideration as well. Just because Beerus might be stronger than you doesn't necessarily mean that Beerus could actually kill you. So in Zamasu's case, he has that up against Beerus. I'm not too sure just because he has that, he can actually kill Beerus. There's no evidence on that. It's heavily implied, and there's a lot of Goku Black fans would agree, but there's no confirmation of that at all in the future world, where he eliminated all the Gods of Destruction. I'm still beginning to think, because we know the connections with the Supreme Kais, the Kaioshins of each universe with the Gods of Destruction. That was foreshadowed in episode 55, remember that? So, I'm beginning to think that's what Zamasu did, or Goku Black did. He went up to kill the Supreme Kai. Remember, Beerus is already dead because of what happened in Trunks' timeline with Dabura. So, the Kaioshin was already dead, so that eliminated Beerus. But, given what we know about all the Gods of Destruction, do you honestly think, and by the way, Goku Black, this is pre-Super Saiyan Rose, okay? So, do you honestly think that Goku Black marched up to each universe, went, knock, knock, coming out, God of Destruction, I'm going to kill you? No. He couldn't even handle Goku at Super Saiyan 2 when he first encountered. So I don't think he went up to each God of Destruction and did that. Take consideration when actually talking about Zamasu being stronger than God of Destruction. So, but when it comes to Jiren's case, he doesn't talk a lot, but when we've learned in most shonen and most anime, when it comes to the most quiet, they tend to be the most deadly. So there's something that I want to bring you to attention, because when we see the Gods of Destruction, 3 of them, Liquor, Ivan, and of course Harak, they're going at it. Why introduce 3 Gods of Destruction fighting? Why not just have 2? And why did they decide to leave Gin from Universe 12, the God of Destruction, out of it? Because he says, I know how things are going to turn out, so I don't need to get involved. Highly implying that he may be the strongest God of Destruction among the 12 of them. But mortal power scalings, when it comes to like the rankings and mortal level from from the average, the lower tier, to the top tier, doesn't necessarily mean it ranks the Guards of Destruction now, does it? Because we know second from bottom is Universe 7, but that we know for a fact Beerus is stronger than Champa, because even Vado said that. So there you go. So just because you're ranked higher doesn't necessarily mean you're stronger. At least with the Guards of Destruction, that's the case. Plus, the two Army Kings, observing each universe while the recruitment act was going on. Look at how casually they were talking about Goku. Oh, I wonder if Goku will win this, right? Goku may actually win this. Back at the exhibition match, after that was all said and done, Zeno actually calculated, the two Zenos actually calculated from those exhibition matches that the rankings of both those universes. But we know for a fact that Goku is much powerful than that, because I don't know if we're approaching the end of the series. I don't think so, because that's never been specified, right? So what is the point of having Gin left out of that situation if we're not going to see that universe at some point? It makes no sense, because what's the point of leaving that mystery out there? If it's the strongest Guard of Destruction, then yeah, that makes sense. But in his universe, remember, we also stated that a Guard of Destruction actually beat Beerus in arm wrestling. So I don't think that was Champa, do you? So no. So, and just because that's the case doesn't necessarily mean the Guard of Destruction and that Mortal are from the same universe. Because I don't know why, but I don't see Vermald being that Guard of Destruction to beat Beerus in arm wrestling. I don't know. But there's too much we don't know about the Guards of Destruction. And there's too much we don't know about each of the universes as well. So I'll leave that for you to decide. But I just thought I want to get my thoughts out there. There is some incidences, like when Liqueur, Ivan, and Arak sent the remaining parts of the busted up arena that they busted up, by the way, by having the fight. They sent the remaining parts over to most of the fighters. They dodged. We saw Goku dodge, and we saw Jiren he didn't budge an inch. And those things are heavy as fuck because they're made out of Kaching, which is harder than Kaching, the hardest metal in Universe 7, right? So that's even harder to direct, you would think. But they go right past him. By the way, on top of that, they have the aura around them by the strongest Guards of Destruction. Right past him. Now, there's two ways the scenario played itself out. The obvious, he knew where they were going to land. His aura or his telekinesis or psychic powers, because he had his eyes open, then he closed them, and then they went straight past him. So maybe it's psychic, maybe it's not. Or maybe it's something to do with aura, where it changed the directory of both those blocks, and he went straight past him. So that's a possibility too. It's the most likable. It's the most likable theory that makes sense. But does that make him stronger than those Guards of Destruction? No, there's not enough evidence on that. So until we get that confirmed, it's just speculation. So I just wanted to bring that up. I know a lot of people think that's a possible theory. Another thing too, just because Jiren is Goku's opponent for the total power doesn't necessarily mean he's the last opponent for Goku. Because if you notice the lineups of Universe 2 and 6, there's several fighters silhouetted. If you look back at it right now, there's 4 fighters we don't get to see that from Universe 2 and 6. They're silhouetted, they're blurred out. We don't really get to see them in color. I didn't really think much of it until I went back, and I think, why didn't they reveal them? Because if they're going to be like mid-tier and they're going to be fodder, then they may as well reveal them. No, I don't think that's going to be the case at all. In fact, behind Universe 6, you see the lineup, and behind Heat, you see 2 figures. So, and we know for a fact Universe 6 are going to be one of the final remaining teams. I'm pretty sure Universe 2, by the way, they're the equivalent to Universe 11. So that doesn't necessarily mean that Jiren's going to be the only opponent, the last opponent for Goku. Plus, Goku is fighting that spy from Universe 4 from the previous fight, and he's spy from Universe 4. So again, he's not the only opponent that Goku's going to face in the total power. And this hit to take consideration as well. I think it'd be a missed opportunity if someone before Jiren decides to get serious, doesn't march up to Jiren and actually take him on. I think Hit's the most likable candidate at this point. I mean, Vegeta might, especially with a lot of people thinking that Vegeta is stronger than Goku at this point, given what we saw with Frieza. But I don't know. Goku at some point is going to reach a new mode. That's just obvious. I mean, he won't be the only one. I wouldn't be surprised if all the Saiyans pull out some new transformation. I think it'd be cool if that happened. I think it's kind of foreshadowed back in Universe 6. I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but I would be surprised if one of the Saiyans actually goes into Super. we had no explanation how Vegeta went to Super Saiyan Blue very casually without the ritual. We don't know. It may not be the only requirement because in the manga, we've seen multiple times go into Super Saiyan God. And he's a part of the ritual when Goku became the Super Saiyan God at Battle of Gods. The Super Saiyan Blue is essentially a Super Saiyan God that's tapped into a power of a Super Saiyan. That's what it is. Vegeta does say, Kabe, you can reach this level too if you train hard enough. So Vegeta knew that ritual wasn't the only requirement to become a Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. So, again, I know a lot of people don't want to hear it because of how easily Khalifa went into Super Saiyan 2, but I'm just throwing it out there. I don't mind one way or another because the greater the power scaling, the greater the fights, the more epic this tournament's power is going to be. So I think a lot of people need to take that into consideration before they blow their load over this. Universe 6 also sends the Pride Troopers, right? Vegeta and Goku are like freaked out by this. Khalifa doesn't sweat them at all because she's like, oh, are you guys terrified by this? Now, I don't know if that's the right thing to say because she may come back to eat those words, but let's play devil's advocate. Some time has passed since they both transformed, her and Kale, right? So maybe Kale got hold of a legendary Super Saiyan transformation mode, and maybe, just maybe, Khalifa did some training. Now, here's another thing too. A lot of people seem to forget she's a prodigy. We don't know what type of training she did before we got introduced to her, okay? If she was called a prodigy, there's a reason for it. I think a lot of people need to remember that. Plus, there's a lot we don't know when it comes to Universe 6 and 11, when it comes to what they can do feat-wise. Because we see them transform. We don't know what they can do when it comes to fighting-wise. Kabe got wrecked by Kale. Frost got one-shot by Vegeta. See what I'm saying here? So, yeah, there's a lot of factors to take into consideration here. I don't think there's some clues that he may be the more stronger than God Destruction Beerus. But I don't think there's enough to confirm it yet. So, well, I guess this tournament of power, one way or another, is going to showcase that. Or if we're going to get revealed from another universe. So, post your comments down below. Let me know what you think. I just thought I wanted to get this opinion out there because a lot of people are going back and forth about this. They're saying it's 100% confirmed. No, it's not. So, from me, thank you so much for watching. Like this video if you did. Appreciate that. Comment down below your thoughts about what you think about the Mortal Stronger than God Destruction and your predictions for the Tournament of Power. Who will survive? Subscribe to the channel for more Dragon Ball Super. Catch you guys later. Bye.